And even though the guy was going to bulldoze to the ground, he was super happy. He was like, Raz, for freaking $1,200, you freaking saved my ass. I'm like, yep.
Welcome to LA Fixers. What's up? We are here in the Co-Create Studios. I'm here with Alyssa. What's up?
What's up? What's up?
Today we've got, I don't even know how to give him the right royalty announcement, introduction. Raz Dembekjian.
Oh, you said it right. I'm surprised. You
What's
said it
up?
right.
For Magnum Opus Inspections. Inspectors or inspections?
Inspections.
What's up?
Yeah, man. What's up, man? Glad to be here, man. Thank you very much for the invite.
Thank you. It's very rare we get to have an inspector who's also a pimp to join us. So I appreciate that.
Thank you. I would consider all my subs all the hoes, I guess.
Okay, that's good. Let's see your eyes. Let's just make sure you're not high. Okay, you're good.
Oh,
Natural
wow.
blue eyes?
Yeah.
We're good?
Yeah. So you're Armenian?
I'm Armenian, born here, raised in Orange County, and now I live in LA. But my parents are born in Iraq. So
I see.
They all went to, I guess, different countries after the genocide. So yeah.
I see. Well, I'll tell you something. I'm Jewish, and in my bar mitzvah, when we turn 13, they teach us in our bar mitzvah, make sure you have an Armenian inspector one day.
We as Armenians would be like, make sure you have a Jewish businessman you work with.
There you go.
Doesn't it work? A Jewish builder, an Armenian inspector?
all that
It
matters.
just makes sense.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, I'm not a builder. I always say I'm the only Israeli that's not a builder. My ancestors, my family's in the business because my ancestors built the pyramids, and no permits.
No permits, no union.
So let's talk about your journey, how you got into this side of the business, inspections. Everybody's got a nice origin story. What's yours?
Yeah, mine was, I came from the construction and actually manufacturing side of things. I used to be a continuous compliance inspector for building and plumbing product factories globally. And that's what I was mostly on. So I was inspecting the manufacturing facilities that are producing these products. And then my wife came to me like during COVID. She goes like, I had it before COVID, but I just never got into it until COVID started. She goes, Raz, why don't you be an inspector, a home inspector? I'm like, what am I supposed to? These guys charge like $200-$300 for inspection. What am I supposed to do with $200-$300? She goes like, Raz, you talk with people, you're very good, personable, everyone loves you, and you're super OCD about every little thing. So why don't you just get in? So I thought of it as a side hustle kind of thing. Yeah. So at the time when I started really getting into it, I was making like $1,000 a month. I was fine with that because I still have my salary job.
Yeah.
$1,000 a month is like my poker money with my friends.
Right.
Then it started moving. I did one like celebrity, and then my name just went like fire. So I started doing like big mansions that you would see, or private properties, or even industrial commercial properties for everyone.
And that's where we met.
Yeah.
A couple times we would go through Brokers Opens. I remember we went through one. I'm not going to say the location, but it was recently sold by Mauricio Monsky. And I believe it was like 70 million, 80 million. And we were walking through, I remember a specific area. We walked through the
Bel Air
bathroom.
one, that was the one I did.
The Bel Air one, yeah.
That was 87.
87, yeah.
Yeah.
We did that one, and we're walking through, even the bathtub. Everyone went crazy over this bathtub. It was he walks in, puts one finger on it, moves it. It wasn't like
it wasn't installed properly.
It wasn't installed properly.
They just put it on top there.
In an $87 million home, and I'm sitting here like, I'm so glad I'm walking through with this guy. Like,
yeah. What would you say is like the top 2 or 3 red flags that not an $87 million home, regular $1 million home, whatever, $700,000 home, a $2 million home, normal priced homes? What is like 1 or 2 or 3 red flags that people just miss? They just overlook it, and it's a common red flag to overlook.
It would probably be like the transition from the hallway flooring to the bedrooms. If they're connected, that little threshold, it should be a smooth transition. Majority of the time, you would find a little bit of a bump, like a speed bump kind of almost.
Right.
And that would be because of the fact that the flooring joists are either they're spread too far apart, or actually the wrong size joist that the contractors used. And that is like one of the things that I note. I'm like, that means it was done poorly. Second thing, it would be like the lighting system. Usually a lot of these new builders, these big mansions or even small properties, they put in Control 4 lighting systems for low voltage. Well, Control 4 is like equivalent to like a Colt 4 would be like a BMW, and Lutron or Creston would be like the Bugatti.
Okay.
So it's like you're selling a property for 20, 30 million. Put the best stuff in there. A lot of the builders, what they put in is they go all out. They go balls to the wall when it comes to like $300,000-$400,000 chandeliers. The building the garage, it costs a couple million. They'll spend a shit ton of money on a dining room table that's carved out of a specific mountain in Milan. But when it comes to something important, they go super cheap.
You're saying Creston?
Creston is great. Lutron is amazing, very compatible. There's no issues with them whatsoever. Control 4 is more of a cheaper brand. They're usually it's either A, it's not compatible with other lighting or sound systems, or at the same time it's just poor. It's just sort of messing up every few seconds.
Is Control 4 on the keyboard a dollar sign?
I think
Can
so.
be.
I think it is, right?
It
When you
is
press-
cheap.
no, it's Shift 4. Sorry, it's
Shift 4.
Shift 4.
Of course. Just Chuck, what else is new? Of course you're going to be thinking about freaking cash, bro.
Of course, dude.
Oh my god.
See, the Jews think about cash, and Armenians think about only cash. We don't want to do credit, because
Yeah.
on paper, we're not worth
No,
that
no,
much.
we think if Jews think about money, Amirians think about cash.
We're more
Is that why you're wearing green?
all day.
Yeah.
All day.
Yeah.
So, being Armenian, what kind of Mercedes do you drive?
I don't even drive a Mercedes. I drive an Audi.
I've got a question for you. Have you ever done inspection and then all of a sudden there's like a hidden room
Yes. Yes.
Tell me
yes.
about it.
Okay, so that happened for a property out, I think, where was it? I think it was in Beverly Hills or on the border of Bel Air. And I walk in, I see the movie theater. So I'm like, okay, massive movie theater. I was like, maybe like 1,200 square feet. So I was like, beautiful. And then I'm like, oh, is this the freaking, like, I needed to use the bathroom, honestly. So I thought it was the bathroom. I open the door. It's a freaking sex dungeon.
Really?
It's a full-on, like, 50 Shades of
Do
Grey.
you have the address, man?
I forgot the address, honestly.
Okay.
It was nuts. It was a full-on sex dungeon.
nuts. No pun intended.
Oh my God, yeah, exactly.
Like swings and stuff.
Dude, swings, whips, chains,
No way.
furry handcuffs, nipple clamps, nipple tassels, all that shit. I was like, what the fuck did I just step into?
Wow.
And I was like, okay.
An
And like,
STD
what's the
room.
agent? Happened to be like some dude. I'm like, fuck. I'm like, if it was a girl, I'd be like, let's try this out for a second.
I just saw somebody actually shared it with all real estate people I could. I didn't share
No
it with
way.
you because it was like, this guy was like, this comedian. It was like, you know how there's like this porn where there's like a real estate agent walking around showing, oh, let me show you, this is a 3-bedroom. And then he's like, I'm at that age where I'm like, move, I want to see the house. He's like, stop fucking already. I want to see the house. Is this hardwood floor? What is this? Is this laminate?
They do that. That's the thing. They come out, they want to interrupt you while you're even looking at the house. They want to be a salesman. I feel like there's a majority of LA agents, sadly to say, they're nothing but either ex-bottle service girls or they're just licensed used car salesmen. That's about it. Sadly. They and the sad part is, like, I'm going to a like an event tomorrow night.
Yeah.
And I got invited from, which you know Elizabeth.
Who? Which one?
Elizabeth Perchi. Redhead.
Oh yeah, I know her. Yeah.
So she invited me over to this
She's a sweet
mixer,
girl.
and I looked at the photo. I was like, industrial professionals. I'm like, all right, I'll come by. Then I checked to see where it is, and I'm like, okay, so it's gonna be like a bunch of agents where 90% of them close like one deal every like 4 years when World Cup comes around. It's like, come on, like, I mean, I'm a little bit
Where's the location?
at some bar in the valley.
Oh yeah.
So, I'm kind of hard on the agent side of it, because this is the thing that the biggest problem that I have as an inspector is I'm inspecting the property. You're an agent, a licensed California real estate agent. You're selling a property. You're not selling the transaction. So the fact that they themselves don't know, I mean, I'm fine if you don't know every detail about a property, but if you don't know major components, what they are, what their purpose is, how much does it cost to replace, what brand is good, or this or that, how are you an agent? You're just a glorified transaction coordinator
Right.
at that point.
Yeah. It's a good
Right.
point.
That's what annoys me the most. And that's, I mean, I came to an agent. She goes, oh, I'm looking for a contemporary modern home for my client in Hancock Park. Okay. And she shows, like, these are the properties I want to show them. I'm looking at them. I'm like, this is a hip roof, asphalt shingle. Why are you showing them this? He goes like, what do you mean? I said, that's a traditional home. That's not contemporary modern. Contemporary modern means flat roof.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm like, look at the shingles. She goes, what's a shingle? I'm like, holy shit. I'm
Oh,
like,
no.
how are you? how long have you been an agent? And she goes like 4 years. I'm like, and your brokers didn't teach you this? Like that's what I can't stand is if I'm coming out with my guys, we're all professionals. We're all like detailed and whatnot. We're like the all-star dream team. We're bringing all guns blazing, and we're dealing with an agent that doesn't know stuff. That's a problem because their client is going to look to us, but the agent, if she's not, he or she is not, it just keeps asking, getting a question them by their own client. They're going to refer to the inspector. Call the inspector. Ask Raz. Ask Raz.
Yeah.
Every little thing. Ask Raz. Well, come on, dude. That's your client. How do you not know how to explain stuff to your own client?
Have you ever fired an agent?
I actually fired in 10 years of doing inspections, 2 specific agents. I told them, I said, don't ever call me. One of them was a team leader. I said, don't ever have any of your members of your team call me.
I know, but then
refuse to
we
work
ended
with
up talking again.
you. Yes. Yes.
It wasn't me.
No, it wasn't him. It wasn't
She's
him.
like, what?
No, one agent actually told me verbatim, do not put down every detail in the report regarding the house because it'll scare the crap out of my buyers. And if you do that for me, I'll give you $10,000 at a close of escrow. I said, so you don't want me to do my job, and so you can just get your commission check? She goes, yeah, that'll be great. I said, yeah, okay, that's not going to happen. Don't ever call me for an inspection. Go use some, Google Home Inspector near me and some loser out there. Go ahead, go use them. Don't use me.
Yeah, because people forget that an agent, especially when there's that commission in front of them, and they're like, I just need them to remove their contingencies. No, Roz or whoever the inspector is going to have to deal with it.
Right.
A year down the line, 6 months down the line. Wait a second, let's look at the inspection report. What? Why didn't they note this? You know what I mean?
And then it'll come back on me as well. It's like, well, how come blame their inspector at the end of the day? How come you didn't check this? How come you didn't check that? I don't care about the agent's commission. That I don't give a shit, honestly. I care more about the buyer's investment. That's what I personally, and by the way, the reason why my wife even introduced inspections for me to begin with is because I personally got inconvenienced by a home inspector when I was buying my first property. I got screwed over by one.
Interesting.
And granted, it was partially my fault because I got 10 different quotes and I chose the cheapest guy. Because I'm like, okay, what do I need a freaking...
'Cause you're Armenian.
I figured all inspectors are the same, which a lot of agents or clients think that. All inspectors are the same. So why would I pay this guy more money when I go to this guy that's like half the price? Well, that's the same concept. When I explain to agents, I'm like, not every agent is the same.
Right.
Just because you guys take the same crap test for California doesn't mean you guys are all the same agent. So you gotta sift through it. The only way that I can say for an inspector specifically is to go shop around with other inspection companies, but
Right.
receive a sample report from each company you talk with. Not only the price for the inspection, but give me a sample report, Mr. Inspector, because I'd like to review it and see what it is. 9 times out of 10, that inspection company will not provide you with one because they can BS you all day on the phone or in person. But when it's on a legal document, they can't BS it anymore. So they don't want to show you the shit report that they do. 30 pages for like a 3,000 square foot house. They're in and out within an hour. Everything's fine. You're good. No, dude, there's like 15, 20 components to inspect in each room, but they don't. They just go in, check the lights are on, make sure the shower head or the sink doesn't leak. Cool, we're out. The fuck? I'm like, dude. And that's
your
one
sample inspection report that you sent me personally. We just worked on a property. I'll touch on that briefly. You sent me a sample inspection report of 100 pages.
Yeah, that was Encino. I remember
In
that.
addition to that, like I've been working this buyer for a while. We go check out the property. We're there. Mind you, I did know it needed some fixing. We'd seen the property. They'd had construction quotes. Everything was there. And I warned you. I was like, hey, this does need a little bit of work. You're like, okay, let me put my knee pads on and everything. Like, you're ready to get to work. We walk in. We go to the back. And he mentioned, like, how you're a whole team. And this is where, like, you really showed me. I knew you were good. But automatically, there was something wrong with the pool. And right away, you're like, hold on, let me call my pool guy. He answered right away. He was literally in a pool working, and he still answered your phone. So again, that's just like a tell of the respect your guys also have for you. And because no one's too busy. No one's really too busy.
I take care of my guys. That's the one thing that I'm totally against the idea of, oh, they work for me, so therefore, or they're my licensed, go-tos, so therefore I'm gonna treat them like shit because
Right.
I'm the king and they're my servants. I don't think that way at all. We're all equal. We're all together to do one job. Agent, lender, appraiser, title, escrow. Everybody's all one team, and
Right.
that's what I believe a successful agent is. When they come across somebody that is one all-star team, that agent is gonna not only be better, but they're gonna look amazing to their own client. Because their client, at the end of the day, no matter how close they are with you, they're going to think like, okay, he or she is in this to get that commission check. But when we make you look good, they're going to say, their one thing for us is, thank you, Raz. You were awesome. You guys were amazing. Maybe a hug and a freaking smile, and that's about it. And then they pay us. That's it. But guess who gets all the business later? You do, as the agent, because you brought us in. On the converse, if you bring in an inspector or their subs that are shit, they're going to eventually blame your ass.
Right.
So with my guys, they're vetted. They're the best in my opinion. They're not only the best in LA, I think they're the best in the business in general. I have the roofers, the contractors. My plumber is my go-to guy. This guy does not only sewer line inspections, he does water damage restoration, and he is a freaking plumber from like everywhere for the entire house. I had an agent that came up to me and goes, Raz, I have a sewer line inspector that costs like $200. Your plumber that does sewer line inspections, he's charging $350. Why should I go with him? And I said, it's very simple. A sewer line inspector is just a certified, they're not licensed, they're a certified sewer line inspector. They're just going to inspect the line, make sure with the camera, make sure everything's good, no tree root obstruction, nothing. But if there's anything wrong with the pipe, even if it's installed improperly, they can't make any determination on or make a judgment on it because they're not a licensed plumber. You have to bring in a plumber later. The plumber's going to charge you $600-700 to come out.
Right.
So my plumber, you get two for the price of one. He's like, why? Might as well. Let me just go out there and see what's wrong with the pipe, see if it's installed properly, if the soil is compacted properly as well, so if it's underneath the driveway like we just did in Venice Beach. He gives you a full report of what's going to cost for repair of that pipe. At the same time, but on the same page, it says per Magnum Opus inspections findings, which is me or my guys, and it'll say all the plumbing related issues inside the property. He puts them all together on one report. That same day, you'll get a report that says total cost for repairs right there from a licensed plumber.
That's a good point, because if you're paying $200 and then you got to bring another plumber out there for another $600, you're in $800 on something that you could have taken care of for $350.
Exactly.
With a certified licensed plumber.
Exactly.
Right.
What would you say to realtors out there, agents out there that want to choose an inspector, why they should choose you? And again, keep in mind, some agents are representing buyers, some agents represent sellers. Which one would be better,
From what I understand is that the agents at least in Beverly Hills mostly, they have a nickname for me, saying that Raz is the seller killer, because I don't do it intentionally to destroy a seller or whatnot, but I'm getting hired mostly for the buyer, and I'm finding everything that's wrong. I see everything that's wrong. I already know what the product is supposed to be. I know the code forwards and backwards. And by the way, the code changes once every 3 years. So what I said on one property that said it was okay 3 years ago, this year it'll probably be like, oh, that's a code violation. That's a problem. I find it, as much as somebody that has passion for this, a lot of inspectors are very cold. And they don't know how to explain, properly show their findings to a client. I'm not saying don't do your job as full as you can. But at the same time, I mean, don't go to your client and be like at the end of the inspection when you're about to do your review, oh, yeah, well, you know what, we can't, so how do you think you like this house, Raz? Well, you're fucked. Yeah. By the way, you owe me $600. Like, that's pretty much how inspectors talk. I'm like, no, you got to present it in a proper way. Like, tell them, like, these are all major safety issues, but they're not major as of right now, but they can be if you leave it untreated. And this is the reasons why. There is a personal, social factor to it.
It's like a body.
Yeah.
It's literally a body. If you have like, oh, your tooth is hurting, like it's going to be a cavity. If you don't treat it, it's a root canal.
Exactly.
If you don't treat it, it's a crown.
Exactly.
Like it just gets worse.
It gets worse and worse, and it costs like tens of thousands of dollars later to fix it. It's so, I mean,
you are able to, let's say, diffuse it or calm the client. If
correct.
Like, oh my God, there's a...
I've had it before many times. I did this one guy, he was straight from Japan. This is during 2021 in Temecula. It was like a 7,500 square foot massive property, and the backyard was a vineyard. It was a full-on like working vineyard. I was there for about 6 hours. I didn't find like any issues except for one. That was a minor safety issue, and it was that the exterior base or siding wall, the base flashing was just exposed a little bit. It was already rusted. If you leave it the way it is, it can turn into a hole because rust weakens metal, and there can be water leaks coming through when it rains. Honestly, it's a $500 fix. Nothing crazy. The guy freaking wanted to pull out of escrow. He goes, I want a perfect house, no issues. I said, for one, that doesn't exist. And two, you're going to find these small issues. And I explained to him, like, look, just calm down. Take
Even
it
if
easy.
it's newly built.
It's a newly built, whatever. And but this is the fix to it. We can have my guys out here within like the next couple of days. It'll take them like not even like 20 minutes to fix this. Don't worry about it. It's nothing crazy. Oh, well, I mean, I don't know. We talked to my, because the agent wanted to use me, so we did. But he was like, my other inspector says that this is going to cost like 15 grand. This is this. I said, provide me with a report that shows that this is going to cost 15,000. I will sell my company today, and I'll work for that inspector that you just talked about. He just goes like, oh, well, I talked to his inspector. He goes like, oh, well, he said it was going to be the whole wall needs to be replaced. I'm like, no, it's just a base flashing. He goes, oh, yeah, that's an easy fix. I said, perfect. We saved the deal. He moved close and escrow on it. We're good to go. But there's ways of explaining yourself, even though it's, in my mind, maybe I'm thinking like, yeah, you're in deep shit if something is a big problem. But then you have to just filter it out and learn how to talk to someone. You know what I'm saying? It's like you don't want to scare the crap out of them. At the end of the day, we're there for a few hours. You guys are there with the client for like a couple months. So we can literally make or break the deal. So have some bedside manner to it. Just help.
Bedside manners, that's what it is. Yeah, some of them are very cut and dry. Yeah, this is a problem, this is a problem, this is a problem. Because you see it every day, right?
I see it constantly.
For somebody buying a house, 9 times out of 10, it's a transaction that they're doing every decade, if not even longer. And something like that could completely turn them off. So so I would say this. We need to find the type of clients that would be ideal for you and you for them, right? So the type of client that wants to get into escrow knows there's things wrong with the property, but here, I'm going to pay for a report and I'm going to get it itemized. That way I can take it to the seller and say, hey, I know you're asking, $1.2 million for this Woodland Hills house. I'm actually talking about one specific, and here's everything that's wrong with it. And we want to be closer to 950.
We do it mostly for investors.
Yeah.
A perfect example, and I told you this beforehand, it was a property in Encino. It was Dennis's listing.
Right.
Chernoff from
Never
agency.
heard of him. Okay.
So he like pretty much runs the entire valley. Like
I'm kidding. We met at Dennis Chernoff's.
I'm like, what the hell are you talking about?
Oh,
I'm like,
we
Dennis
met
Chernoff?
Dennis Chernoff's.
I'm like, how do you not know Dennis Chernoff?
He runs the valley.
He runs the valley, that freaking little Russian
Yeah,
Jew
he
guy,
do.
bro.
He do. Okay, go on.
So I worked with him a lot. I've worked out with his team.
Yeah.
And I was doing the inspection for an agent that I work out of from Keller Williams out of Americana office. And Mickey was telling me, she goes, Raz, I need you to be super thorough as you already are. Our clients, they're Persian Jewish. I talk to them, awesome guys. And majority of my clients, like I say, they're all Jews. It all depends. Russian Jew. Are you Sephardic? Are you Ashkenazi? I work with everyone.
Yeah.
So we already know that we're going to bulldoze the house to the ground. They're going to rebuild it and then build another 2,500 square foot mother-in-law guest house, like
Right.
casita essentially. And when I got there, the assistant Mel was there, and she goes, "You going to do the inspection?" I said, "Yeah, I'm here for the buyer." I'm like, "Why?" She goes like, "This is Dennis's listing." I'm like, "Oh shit." You might want to give him a call and say, "I'm sorry," because you're about to get screwed over royally. I can already see the house is already like in horrible shape. And they went into escrow at 2235. They closed escrow at 19 after my report. And even though the guy was going to bulldoze to the ground, he was super happy. He was like, "Raz, for freaking $1,200, you freaking saved my ass." I'm like, "Yep, that's what I
Saved
do."
you $250,000.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I do take care of the buyer. Majority of my business, 95% of it, 90% of it is buyers. The other side, it would be more for the sellers, which I'm getting busier now. Actually, tomorrow morning, I'm doing this duplex inspection for the seller. They want to, before they put it on the market, they want to see the report, see what's wrong with it. And I asked them, I said, there's two ways of going around for a seller. Do you want me to do a major component inspection, or do you want me to do a full thorough inspection as if I'm doing it for a buyer, finding every little thing that's wrong with the property, cosmetic and safety issues? And they said they would just want to do major components. I said, okay. The cost is significantly less because I'm only checking major components. I'm not checking doors, floors, walls, windows, vents, lights. I'm not checking any of those.
It's not as basic as like roofing, electrical.
Yeah, I'm
water
looking for
and
major
foundation.
stuff. That's it.
Right.
Okay.
And because they know that on the report, once you have it on the report, you legally just have to disclose it. If I tell you verbally this is what's wrong, I mean, it's always plausible deniability for the seller. They don't have to
That's right.
disclose shit. But if it's on the report, that's when they have to say, like, this is what's wrong, show it to a buyer. Now, we did this for a property in West Hills. The client, the agent, Shannon Galafaro from Berkshire, she was at the time with Berkshire Hathaway. Now she's at Coldwell and Global Luxury. And she goes, Raz, can you come out and do this pre-listing inspection? We did. They went into escrow 4 days after my inspection with $500,000 over asking, all contingencies waived. Because they saw my report. He goes, like, after she tested it out with that, she goes, that's it. You're not only are you my go-to for buyers, but now you're also my go-to for sellers.
Right.
So that right there, it could be that could be a huge, piece of your business that could increase if you're able to take that what you just told and let sellers know, like, hey, you can go onto the market already knowing what's wrong, what's not wrong. Nobody can bullshit you.
Exactly. And I've seen like other inspectors' reports before. I don't like the apps that the other inspectors use, which is like Spectora or Tap Inspect or even HomeGauge. I don't like those apps because it's so confusing, and they make it confusing. So that way the agent or the client is like, oh, this is giving me a headache already, a migraine. Okay, fine. Yeah, he did a good job. I don't want to look at the report. My report is opposite. Mine is extremely easy to understand. Everything perfectly organized with pictures, comments, recommendations for specialists. And then I also provide you a summary breakdown, which I don't expect the agent or the client to read 100 pages. So what I do is, like, on the last page of the report, here's a breakdown. Raz, what's wrong with the house? Major safety issues, where they are, what they are. Minor safety issues, same uniform, same flush. So I make it as easy as possible because, and I tell my inspectors when I'm inspecting properties, yes, the client, you're doing this for the client, you're doing this for the agent, fine. But the agent and the client are not going to be on your mind when you're doing it. You're doing it with the mentality of as if you're buying this property. Whatever you see wrong, you put it in the report. What the client chooses to do or not to do is not your business. That's their prerogative. But you put it all in the report and you hand it to them. You're good to go. And they all said the same thing. Raz, your inspectors are awesome. Yeah, no shit, because I trained them all one by one.
Dude, everyone knows you. Even when I go around, I'm like, hey, do you know Raz? Oh, yeah, the inspector. Do you know Raz? Yeah, of course. Like, everyone knows who you are. You're such a people person. I feel like that's also a big component of your business that is unsaid, but very much felt and known.
I don't like people getting screwed over. That's my thing. I've always been a protector type of, even as a kid. One of my closest friends as a kid, the reason why I'm actually very close with not only with the Jewish population in LA, granted, because they all have the cash and they all have the big money. That's fine. But it's also because of the fact that as a kid, me and this, this Jewish kid back in elementary school was getting bullied back in Orange County because, he was wearing, was it the kippah?
Yarmulke.
Yarmulke? Okay. So they were making fun of him. They were taking it off his head. They were doing some brutal, like, nasty shit back then. So I saw that and I got pissed and I'm like, I don't want to see someone get screwed over. So I went and protected him. The Jewish guy was like, he's very smart and strategic mentally, but when it comes to fighting, he was more like, I can't really fight, whatever. So me, on the other hand, Armenians, we can't wait to fight. We're known for that aggressive nature. So that became his bodyguard.
Now, though, is he your accountant?
He's one of my main investors.
All right, hey, that makes sense.
Exactly.
So
you just got the wolf pack on your side.
That's what I mean. So that's when it comes down to it. I don't like to see anybody get screwed over at anything. So when I see that, I kind of have that protector, I guess, persona about me, whatever.
If
and when it comes to
messing
homes,
with me, I'm just gonna be like, you know what? Hold on one second. I'm gonna call my Armenian bodyguard.
Exactly. And I have like professional guys on my payroll, and I also have a bunch of Armenians that are up to no good.
Cash.
And they can just go take care of this guy and then have a one-way ticket to Armenia.
Oh my goodness.
So any I want to do like the takeaway, right? What we take away from a podcast episode, because a lot of times it's like, there's ups and downs, there's questions, there's laughs, but for me, the takeaway is this. You got to have a good inspector, both as a buyer, because that'll help your contract price, what you can close on, what kind of requests for repairs, what kind of credits you can ask for. And as a seller, which is something I never really even thought of, what you were saying is a seller can do a pre-listing inspection. Think about it. Agents think about bringing somebody to do a pre-listing inspection. Then you can go onto the market knowing exactly what you got, what you don't got, what's actually in good working condition. nobody can bullshit you.
It's a smooth, streamlined process. You want to make it as less headaches as possible. So let's get this handled from the beginning. We're good to go. And then because if they don't, as a perfect example, I had an agent. She, I won't mention her name. I feel bad for her, honestly, at this point. But in Calabasas, I told her, I said, I know everything about this property. Brokers open, everything. I know everything about it. Why don't you get a pre-listing inspection?
Right.
Oh, my seller didn't want to pay for the inspection. Oh, and I don't want to pay for the inspection. So I appreciate it, Raz, but we need you next time. That's a nice way of saying fuck off. I get it. I said, well, God help you if I represent the buyer because I'm going to be asking for at least $100,000 in repair credits. She thought I was just BSing her. By sheer coincidence, 2 weeks later, I show up with a tool belt. I'm like, hey, how you doing? And she goes like, are you really the inspector? I'm like, no, I'm just driving to Calabasas with a tool belt on because I have nothing else better to do. Yeah, of course I'm going to do the inspection. She goes, Raz, I'm begging you, please don't freak. I'm like, no, I gave you your chance. And we literally asked for $145,000 repair credits. They essentially closed at 85, and it was only going to cost about like $30,000 to do fix it. So that $50,000 extra went to the client's pocket as profit from his own deal. And I'm like, you're welcome.
Yeah.
And I walked away.
See,
So
that's a
fun
part-
fact: don't screw over Raz.
Yeah.
Don't. The worst thing you can ever do is be and perfect. And another. I mean, I have so many stories, but I'm just giving you like the main ones. Brokers open in Beverly Hills. Agent comes and says, come on in, please sign in here, whatever, and then just goes, are you an agent? I said, no, I'm not an agent. I'm an inspector. The 12 agents behind me, those are my friends, and those are agents I work with. Just complete bitch mode. Just right away, like bipolar. Why are you here? I said, because I'm looking at the property, and I might have a client that might want to purchase this $12 million property. And she just goes, oh, we have cameras in the house, and the seller doesn't want any inspectors in here, so can you please leave? That'll be greatly appreciated. I said, wow, be a bitch to me. Okay, I'll be a dick right back. I'll be back in 5 minutes. I ran up there with my freaking fat ass. I went all the way up to 2 flights of stairs, went to all the rooms, found all the code violations for this new build house, and then I said, like, okay, I'll leave you. Oh, here's your email address. Perfect. Took a picture, went home. I was supposed to go to sushi dinner that night, but I have a vendetta. So I told my wife, I'm like, hey, we're not going to go to sushi tonight. She goes, what are you going to do? I'm like, I'm going to build a new free report, free of charge for this 10,000 square foot house. And I sent her a copy of my report with all those code violations to that agent. And I put on that email, I'm like, now you have to legally disclose everything wrong with this house. Good luck trying to sell it for $12 million.
Wow, I love that.
Don't fuck with Raz.
Honestly, we could go for a million stories.
Too many. 10 years of time, it's like I can write volumes right now.
We can do a part 2 of this episode another time with like alcohol.
Oh, are you
wow.
telling an Armenian guy to drink? Bro.
Oh no.
Bro.
No, Raz is really respectable. I've known him for so long. He did start his business. I know he even have stories where he's, I don't know, little to none charging people. Like you weren't even, maybe $100 for your inspection, or I think you were doing some for free at one point. Mm-hmm. And now I called him. I'm an agent, of course. I called him like, hey, Raz, can you come on Monday? Like, no, sorry, I'm booked. I can come Thursday. And Raz is even my friend. So if you're a viewer and you want to work with Raz because he can get your buyer money or he can help you in the long run as a seller, just know he is booked and busy doing mansions and duplexes, investors, etc. And so book him in advance. He's amazing. He's the best. It's been a pleasure having you on.
It was great. Thank you very much for having me, man. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Do you remember the first joke I told you though when we met?
Shit, dude, I remember what I did yesterday, let alone a joke.
I said, what do you call a distressed property in Glendale? A fixer-upper.
Bro, I'll give you best deal, bro. Special price. Don't worry.